a single drop of oil. That is all it takes to pull me from routine. It falls from somewhere above, landing with surgical precision on my command console. Under the dim crimson lumens, it becomes a tiny, perfect universe, a bead of red swimming in black. I watch it spread across the metal surface, creeping outward, claiming its territory in slow defiance. My fingers hover above it, unwilling to disturb this minor rebellion against sterility. Even here, inside this walking cathedral of steel, the oil reminds me that something organic still exists. Moderatii Fen, status report. The voice of Princeps Majoris Valon cuts through my reverie like a blade. I wipe the droplet away with my sleeve, the evidence of my lapse vanishing into the dark cloth of my uniform. All weapon systems nominal, void shields at full capacity, machine spirit reading stable. The words leave my lips automatically, a prayer learned by repetition, spoken without thought. My eyes scan the readouts, translating their ancient script into fragments my human mind can still grasp. Beneath my fingertips, the console thrums with warmth, like blood coursing through veins. Not my blood, its blood. I serve within the glory of Cal, a warlord-class titan of the Legio Praeargius. For 12 years, this machine has been my only home, my only purpose. The machine god cradles me within its iron embrace, and I am thankful. I must be thankful. Anything else would be heresy. Outside, the blasted plains of Kai's Prime stretch to the horizon, a world poised on the edge of compliance. Rebellion must be crushed. The Emperor's will must be made manifest. Once, such words filled me with fervor. Now they drift through my thoughts as cold statements of fact, stripped of color and heat. The command throne hisses behind me as Princeps Valon shifts his withered body. I do not turn. I know what I would see. His wasted form, more machine than man, suspended in a lattice of cables and neural links. Sometimes I wonder if Valon still exists at all, or if only the glory of Cal remains, wearing his memory like a mask. Enemy approach, northeast quadrant, announces Moderatii Secundus Larak, her voice as flat as a data feed. Infantry formations with armor support, designs primitive, threat assessment minimal. A tremor runs through the deck plates under my boots. The Titan stirs. It hungers for battle, for destruction, for the fulfillment of its ordained purpose. That hunger has lived within me for so long that I can no longer tell if it is mine or its. Reactor output increasing, reports the engine crew below. The machine spirit awakens. My hands move across the controls, checking readiness. The volcano cannon winds up as its capacitors charge, storing unimaginable energies. The Gatling blaster spins briefly, testing its motors. The massive power fist flexes, hydraulics hissing. We are a god preparing for war. Through the view slit before me there is only darkness, punctuated by the distant flash of artillery. Soon my vision will be replaced by Cal's own, fed directly into my skull. I will see as it sees. I will feel what it feels. I will become something more than human, and something less. Moderatii Fen. Bring primary weapons online. Plot firing solutions for enemy armor concentrations. Yes, Princeps. My fingers dance across the ancient controls, coaxing obedience from relics older than any living soul aboard. The air grows thick with incense and ozone. Around me, servitors whisper binary prayers, entreating the machine spirit's favor. I mouth my own silent litany. Words burned into me during my induction into the Collegia Titanica. Grant me your strength, that I may direct your wrath. Grant me your sight, that I may find your foes. Grant me your wisdom, that I may serve your purpose. The moment of joining nears. Pressure builds at the base of my skull. The neural interface warms, preparing to breach the barrier between flesh and steel. This is the moment I both crave and dread. To be one with the Titan is to touch divinity. It is also to lose myself, to be reduced to a single component inside something vast, ancient, and terrible. Commencing battle neural synchronization, Vaylon intones. An imperator, impatient. We answer as one. The interface bites. Pain lances white-hot through my skull, cleansing and absolute. Copper floods my mouth. I realize I've bitten my lip. It does not matter. Flesh no longer counts. I am becoming more. Consciousness tears outward, pouring into the iron arteries of Cal. The Titan's weight settles into me as if it were my own body. I stand hundreds of feet tall. My skin becomes adamantine. My blood is Prometheus and coolant, the barely contained fury of the plasma heart roaring through our veins. Power hums in every joint. I am not solitary. Vaylon dominates the shared mind, his will a conductor shaping the symphony of destruction to come. Moderatii Larak is there too, precise, disciplined. Beneath us, a chorus of lesser crew members threads through the consciousness, each voice a tiny filament reinforcing the whole. We take the first step. The world trembles. My human frame convulses in the restraint thrown as Cal moves. Each impact translates into a ghost sensation across my flesh, a pale echo of the machine's true enormity. My hands clamp the controls until my knuckles shine white. I am still Kyros Fen, but I am also part of the glory of Cal, and the line between man and God blurs with every passing second. Through the Titan's augmented sight, the enemy shrinks to insect scale. Infantry scattering like detritus, weapons spitting futile sparks against our void shields. Armored columns press forward, crude, brave, doomed, rebels that defy the Imperium. Target locked, I announce, my voice hollow in the shared mind. Volcano cannon charged and ready. Vaylon's command washes through us. I press the firing rune. The control resists for an instant, then yields. The volcano cannon screams, a lance of heat and light hotter than a sun lancing from our right arm. It cleaves the battlefield, turning stone to glass, steel to vapor. The lead enemy tank and all within 50 meters simply cease to be. A perfect crater marks the spot where our wrath touched the earth. Satisfaction, mechanical and human, surges through the machine spirit and echoes in me. This is what we were made for. This is holy. Artillery answers. Most shells kiss our void shields and register as pinpricks of annoyance. One finds purchase, a concussion against the left leg. Damage reports bloom in the shared stream. Minor breach to left greave armor. No systems compromised. Advance, Vaylon orders. Maximum stride. We crush them beneath our feet. Cal moves faster. Each stride eats dozens of meters. Buildings collapse in our wake. We are walking judgment in iron and fire. I swing the Gatling blaster toward a stubborn knot of infantry. It howls to life, thousands of rounds shredding air and flesh alike. Blood mists the battlefield, visible even through the dust and smoke. I feel nothing for those lives. How could I? From this godlike vantage, they are small, irrelevant, a theological abstraction external to the duty we carry. Enemy armor flanking southeast, I report, heat signatures pinwheeling across our overlays. Unacceptable, Vaylon replies. The Titan pivots with a grace that belies its mass. I bring the power fist to bear. I draw the energized field around the gauntlet. Blue lightning dances along its surface, hungry for iron. We swing. The fist closes on the lead tank and collapses it like a child's toy. The field arcs, leaping to nearby hulls and turning crews into ash in their metal coffins. Death tastes metallic through the neural link. Distant, immediate, undeniable. It filters into me like a memory that is not mine and yet cannot be denied. The enemy breaks, announces Laura. They retreat toward the city center. They will find no sanctuary there, says Vaylon. Prepare for urban combat protocols. Moderatii Fen, load incendiary shells in the Gatling blaster. Yes, Prince, I make the necessary adjustments, feeling the massive ammunition drums rotate within the Titan's arm. The standard shells are replaced with incendiary rounds designed to burn at temperatures high enough to melt steel. They will transform the city into an inferno. A flicker of doubt passes through my mind. There will be civilians in that city. Not all who dwell there are rebels. Many are simply caught between powers beyond their control trying to survive. The thought is immediately crushed whether by Valan's dominating presence in our shared consciousness or by my own conditioning. I cannot tell. Mercy is not the way of the Collegia Titanica. We are instruments of compliance, not salvation. We march toward the city, its skyline already damaged from previous bombardments. Other Imperial forces converge as well. I can see Warhound Titans, smaller and faster than our mighty warlord, racing ahead to encircle the settlement. Squadrons of tanks advance in our shadow, and behind them come the infantry, ready to secure what we destroy. None of it matters to us. The glory of Cal walks alone, supreme in its power. Target the Central Administrative District, orders Violin. Let them see their seat of rebellion burn. The volcano cannon charges once more. Through the shared consciousness, I feel the immense energies building, straining against their containment fields. The air around the barrel shimmers with heat. I align the targeting reticule with precision, centering it on the largest structure in the city center. Firing solution locked. I report. Fire again. That single word that delivers judgment. Again, I depress the rune. Again, death flows from our outstretched arm. The beam strikes true, boring through the administrative building from top to bottom before detonating its core systems. The structure collapses upon itself. Secondary explosions rippled outward as power systems overloaded. Fires spread rapidly, jumping from building to building. I watch through the Titan's eyes as tiny figures run from the inferno, their forms barely distinguishable at this distance. Something stirs within me, something I thought long buried. Pity, remorse, human emotions that have no place within the consciousness of a god machine. I feel Valen's attention shift toward me through the neural link. His presence looms over my thoughts, searching, probing for weakness. I quickly suppress the unwanted emotions, focusing instead on weapons, telemetry, and damage reports. Your mind wanders, Moderatii Fen, comes Valen's voice both through my ears and directly into my mind. Such distraction dishonors the machine's spirit. Forgiveness, Prince, I respond, the ritual words falling from my lips. I am fully committed to our holy task. See that you remain so. We continue our advance into the burning city. Weapons bring ruin to all before us. Buildings that have stood for centuries crumble under our firepower. History, art, knowledge, all of it is now in service to compliance. Hours pass this way, though time holds little meaning in the merged state. The glory of Cal strides through streets designed for vehicles a fraction of our size, demolishing structures that impede our path. Occasionally, brave or foolish defenders attempt to target vulnerable points in our armor. They die for their efforts, crushed beneath our tread or vaporized by our weapons. The neural link transmits everything. The vibration of our footfalls, the heat of our weapons discharging, the impact of enemy fire against our shields. My human body responds to each sensation, muscles tensing and relaxing, sweat soaking through my robes despite the environmental controls of my station. Eventually, resistance ceases. Violin orders a halt at what was once the city center, now merely a flat expanse of rubble and glass. The Titan stands triumphant amid the devastation it has wrought, a colossus of the Omnissiah surveying its handiwork. Kai's prime is compliant. Violin. The Emperor's will is done. Slowly, painfully, the neural link disengages. I am returned fully to my flesh, diminished and weak. My body aches in every joint, muscles cramping from hours of sympathetic tension. The taste of blood lingers in my mouth from where I bit through my lip. I have no memory of eating or drinking during the battle, though surely the servitors must have attended to such needs. Stand down from combat stations, orders Violin, his voice now coming only through my ears rather than directly into my mind. Perform post-battle rituals and prepare status reports. Yes, Prince, we respond in unison. I slump in my restraint throne, suddenly exhausted beyond measure. This is always the way after communion with the machine spirit. The human body was never meant to channel such power to experience such sensations. We pay for our moments of godhood with pain and fatigue. Servitors approach their half-mechanical bodies moving with awkward precision. One offers a hydration bulb, which I accept gratefully. Another begins disconnecting the secondary neural feeds from my arms and chest, leaving only the primary interface at the base of my skull. Moderatii Fen calls Valen from his command throne. Attend me. I rise on shaky legs, forcing my body to obey despite its protests. Moving to the rear of the command deck, I stand before the Princeps, eyes lowered in deference. What remains of Valen watches me from his throne of tubes and cables. His withered body seems almost an afterthought, a vestigial remnant of humanity clinging to the machinery that has replaced most of his flesh. Your performance today was adequate, he says, his voice rasping through augment vocal cords. But I sensed hesitation during the city assault. Explain. There is no point in lying. The neural link reveals all momentary lapse precepts. Undisciplined thoughts regarding civilian casualties. Valan's eyes narrow, the only part of his face still capable of expression. Such concerns are beneath us. Moderatii. We are the Emperor's judgment. We do not question. We execute. Yes, Princess. It will not happen again. See that it does not. I have invested considerable resources in your training. It would be unfortunate if you proved unsuitable for your role. The threat hangs in the air between us. To be deemed unsuitable is to be replaced, and those who fail the Collegia Titanica are not simply dismissed. They are recycled. Their bodies and skills are put to use in other ways. Many end as servitors, their minds wiped clean of all but the most basic functions. I understand, Princess. I am grateful for your guidance. Valen dismisses me with the barest nod. I return to my station where the post-battle rituals await. Sacred oils must be applied to control surfaces. Prayers of gratitude must be recited to the machine spirit. Damage reports must be compiled and transmitted to the tech priests who will oversee any necessary repairs. These tasks occupy the next several hours, performed with ritualistic precision. Only when they are complete am I permitted to retire to my quarters, a small cell adjacent to the command deck. As Moderatii Primus, I am required to remain close to my post at all times. The glory of Cal might be called to action with little warning, and I must be ready to serve. My quarters are Spartan, as befits a servant of the Omnissiah. A narrow bunk, a small shrine to the Emperor and the machine god, a desk for studying technical manuals and battle reports. The only personal touch is a small Aquila pendant carved from the bone of a fallen comrade from my first campaign. Even this token of remembrance borders on sentiment, a weakness I should have purged long ago. I remove my sweat-soaked robes and perform brief ablutions from the small basin provided. The water is lukewarm and smells faintly of chemicals, recycled countless times through the Titan's purification systems. I do not mind. It is a privilege to share in the resources of the God machine. Sleep comes quickly, but brings no peace. In my dreams, I still walk as a giant, still destroying the helpless. But in these nightmares, I can hear the screams of the dying, can see their faces as they burn. I wake several times, drenched in fresh sweat, despite the cool temperature of my quarters. Between these episodes of troubled sleep, my thoughts turn to how I came to this place, this life. I was born on a forge world, the child of workers who maintained the great factories. From my earliest years, I was taught to revere the machine, to see in technology the hand of the divine. When the representatives of the Collegia Titanica came seeking candidates, I was among those who stepped forward, eager to serve in the most glorious capacity imaginable, physical endurance, psychological resilience, neural compatibility. 9 out of 10 candidates failed. Sent back to their previous lives if they were fortunate. Consigned to servitude if they were not. I succeeded where others failed. My mind is deemed suitable for communion with a machine spirit. Training followed years of it, learning the rites and rituals, the technical specifications, the battle doctrines, learning to sublimate my own identity, to become a vessel for the will of the Princeps, and through him, the will of the Titan itself. My first battle was a revelation. The power, the sensations, the godlike perspective. I reveled in it then, believing wholly in the righteousness of our cause. When did that certainty begin to erode? I cannot pinpoint the moment. Perhaps it has been a gradual process, wearing away at my faith like water against stone. These thoughts are dangerous. Doubts lead to hesitation. Hesitation leads to failure. Failure leads to replacement. I must purge such weakness from my mind. Rising from my bunk, I kneel before the small shrine in my quarters. The skull-faced visage of the Emperor stares back at me, judging, demanding. Beside it, the icon of the Omnissiah promises enlightenment through technology. I begin to recite the litany of focus. The words are so familiar they require no thought. My mind is a weapon. My faith is a shield. My purpose is clear. I serve the Omnissiah and the Emperor now and forever. The ritual calms me, restoring order to my thoughts. By the time I have finished, my doubts have receded, locked away in some distant corner of my mind where they cannot interfere with my duties. The voxcaster in my quarters crackles to life. All command crew to stations. Repeat, all command crew to stations. I rise immediately, donning fresh robes and making the sign of the cog across my chest. Duty calls and I will answer. I am Moderatii Kyros Fen of the Legio Praeargius. I serve the glory of Cal. I serve the Omnissiah. I serve the Emperor. All else is irrelevant. The corridor outside my quarters thrums with activity as I make my way to the command deck. Servitors and lower-ranking crew members hurry about their tasks, preparing the Titan for whatever new mission awaits. I pass a tech priest supervising repairs to a minor hydraulic leak, his machindrites writhing like metallic tentacles as they manipulate tools with inhuman precision. Praise the Omnissiah, he intones as I pass. Praise be, I respond automatically. The command deck is already active when I arrive, holithic displays showing tactical data and status reports. Moderatii Lorak nods to me as I take my station, her face as expressionless as ever. I wonder sometimes if she experiences the same doubts that plague me, or if her faith remains pure and unquestioned. Princess Valen sits upon his command throne, eyes closed as he communes with the machine spirit, even without the full neural link engaged. His withered frame barely moves, save for the occasional twitch of a finger, or the subtle rise and fall of his chest. More machine than man, yet still possessed of life. A grim preview of my own future, should I serve long enough. New orders have arrived, Valen announces, eyes still closed. The rebellion on Kai's Prime has been crushed, but remnants flee toward the northern continent. The glory of Cal will be transported via heavy lander to intercept them before they can establish a new foothold. What opposition can we expect? Prince asks Lorak. Minimal. The rebel forces are scattered, their heavy equipment destroyed. Nevertheless, we will scour them from existence to prevent any future insurrection. I check my control surfaces, ensuring all systems show readiness. The weapons have cooled since our previous engagement, their machine spirits resting but alert. The void shields have fully recharged, their status runes glowing a healthy blue on my display. Prepare for transport operations. Orders, Valon. We depart in 3 hours. Transport is always a tense time for a Titan crew. The god machines were built to walk, to dominate the battlefield with their presence. Being loaded into the massive heavy landers of the Imperial Navy feels undignified, even sacrilegious. The machine spirit grows restless during such operations, requiring constant placation through ritual and prayer. Moderatii Fen, you will oversee the weapon system's lockdown procedure, Valon continues. Ensure all safety protocols are observed. The Navy captains grow nervous when carrying a fully armed Titan in their holds. Yes, Prince. The next several hours pass in careful preparation. I personally inspect each weapon system, reciting the proper litanies as I engage the transport locks and safety mechanisms. The volcano cannon must be carefully depowered, its immense energies drained back into the Titan's reactor. The Gatling blaster's rotation mechanism must be secured to prevent any movement during transport. The Power Fist must have its energy field completely neutralized and its hydraulics depressurized. All the while, I feel the machine spirit's discontent. The glory of K does not wish to be bound, to be carried like cargo. It was forged for war, for the glory of combat. Through the neural link, still partially active even during normal operations, I sense its eagerness to walk free again, to bring death to the Emperor's enemies. Peace, Great One, I whisper, placing my hand against the cool metal of the weapon control panel. Soon you will walk again. Soon you will taste victory once more. The panel warms slightly beneath my touch. Whether from actual response or merely my imagination, I cannot say. After years of communion with the machine spirit, the line between reality and perception has grown increasingly blurred. Eventually, all preparations are complete. The vast loading doors at the rear of our docking bay open, revealing the cavernous hold of the heavy lander that will transport us to our next battlefield. Tech priests scurry about, laying down blessed oils to ease the Titan's passage along the loading ramp. Begin walking procedure, orders Valon. Quarter speed, full caution protocols. The glory of Cal awakens, pistons hissing and motors whining as its massive form straightens to its full height within the docking bay. Then, with ponderous grace, it begins to walk forward, each step carefully measured to avoid damage to either the Titan or the facilities around it. I monitor the weapon systems during this delicate operation, ready to report any sign of malfunction or unauthorized activation. Through the corner of my eye, I observe Moderatii Lorak doing the same for the locomotion systems, her fingers dancing across control rooms as she fine-tunes each movement. The loading process takes nearly an hour, the Titan inching its way into the heavy lander's hold like a knight entering a cathedral. Thick adamantium restraints close around its legs and torso once it is in position, securing the god machine for the journey ahead. The machine spirit chafes at these bonds, mutters Ingenia, his augmentic eye whirring as it focuses on various readouts. Its anger grows. Maintain pacification rituals, responds Valon. Burn the sacred incense and recite the canticle of blessed confinement until we reach our destination. The engineer bows and withdraws to the lower levels, where he will lead his acolytes in the rituals that will keep the machine spirit docile during transport. The smell of incense already grows stronger, filtering through the ventilation systems to fill the command deck with its cloying sweetness. A shudder runs through the Titan as the heavy lander's engines ignite. I grip my console for stability, feeling the vibrations through my fingertips. We are airborne, suspended in the sky by technologies dating back to the dark age of technology. The thought is both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Estimated transit time is 4 hours, announces Valon. Secondary crew may rest in rotation. Command crew will remain at stations in case of emergency. I settle in for the journey, reviewing technical manuals and battle reports on my data slate to pass the time. The constant drone of the lander's engines and the rhythmic chanting from the lower decks form a hypnotic backdrop that nearly lulls me to sleep. Despite my best efforts, my mind drifts, returning to thoughts best left unexplored. I recall my family, their faces now blurred by time and distance. My father, a skilled artisan who crafted components for servo skulls. My mother, a data scribe in the Forge Temple. My younger sister, who showed promise as a tech priestess before I left for the Collegia Titanica. Do they still live? Do they remember me? Do they know what I have become? Such thoughts serve no purpose. Family bonds are severed upon joining the Collegia. My only family now is the crew of the Glory of Calf. My only father, the Omnissiah. My only mother, the Imperium itself. Yet still the memories persist, rising unbidden in moments of quiet. Your mind wanders again, Moderatii fan. I start realizing that Princeps Valon has opened his eyes and is watching me from his command throne. Even without the full neural link engaged, he possesses an uncanny ability to sense the emotional states of his crew. Forgiveness, Princeps, I was reviewing battle tactics for the coming engagement. Were you? His voice carries no inflection, yet somehow conveys complete disbelief. Remember, Moderatii, that the machine spirit sees into your heart. Deception is futile. Yes, Princess, your performance has been adequate thus far, but I sense a growing distraction in you. Perhaps after this campaign, you should undergo the rite of recommitment. My blood runs cold at his words. The rite of recommitment is not a simple ceremony, but a brutal process of psychological conditioning and memory alteration. Those who undergo it often return changed, their personalities flattened, their eyes vacant, except when engaged in their duties. I assure you, Princess, that will not be necessary. My commitment to the Omnissiah and to the glory of Cal remains absolute. We shall see. The battlefield will reveal the truth as it always does. The conversation ends there, but Valon's eyes remain upon me for several long moments before he closes them again. Returning to his communion with the machine spirit, I force myself to focus on my data slate, though the words blur before my eyes. The journey continues in tense silence, broken only by routine status reports and the ever-present chanting from below. Eventually, a change in the engine pitch signals our approach to the target zone. The heavy lander begins its descent, the Titan shifting slightly against its restraints as gravity reasserts its pull. Prepare for deployment, orders Valen. All crew to battle stations. Initiate pre-combat rituals. Activity erupts across the command deck. Servitors shuffle to their positions, plugging themselves into various interfaces. Tech priests appear from the lower levels, their red robes billowing as they hurry to their stations. Moderatii Larak and I run through system checks, verifying that all functions remain nominal despite the transport. The heavy lander touches down with a bone-jarring impact that rattles through the Titan's frame. Outside, the sound of massive loading ramps deploying echoes through the hull. Release transport locks, commands Valen. Prepare for neural synchronization. I engage the release mechanisms for the weapon systems, feeling resistance as the machine spirit tests its newfound freedom. The volcano cannon powers up with a deep, thrumming vibration that I can feel through the deck plates. The Gatling blaster's barrels begin their slow rotation as if eager to taste battle once more. The neural interface at the base of my skull warms, preparing for full activation. I close my eyes, centering my thoughts as I was taught. The discipline is essential to enter communion with the machine spirit, while emotionally compromised is to risk losing oneself entirely. Commencing Neural 22 synchronization, announces Valen. A imperator. A imperator, we respond. The pain comes again as it always does. The human mind was never meant to expand beyond the confines of the skull. To share consciousness with something so vast and ancient and powerful, I taste blood once more as my teeth clench involuntarily. And then I am more. The glory of Cal becomes my body, its systems, my limbs, its senses, my eyes and ears. I stand tall upon an Arctic plain, snow swirling around my massive form. The heavy lander that brought us here already lifts off, tiny compared to my towering height. In the distance, I can see the target, a ragged column of vehicles and troops fleeing across the frozen landscape. The remnants of the rebellion seeking escape, or perhaps a place to regroup and continue their futile resistance. They have noticed our arrival. their formation scattering in panic. Forward, commands Valen, his will dominating our shared consciousness. No survivors, no mercy. We begin to walk, each footfall crushing the permafrost beneath the reactor that serves as our heart pulses with growing power, feeding energy to our weapons. Through the neural link, I can feel Valen's anticipation, his eagerness to unleash destruction. It mirrors the machine spirit's hunger, the two so intertwined that they have become nearly indistinguishable. My own emotions feel distant, muted by the overwhelming presence of Valan and the machine spirit in our shared consciousness. Yet still, a whisper of doubt persists. What glory is there in this slaughter? These are not worthy foes facing us in honorable combat, but frightened men and women running for their lives. Target acquired. Reports Moderatii Larek through our shared awareness. Firing solution plotted, weapons free. Orders Valen. Cleanse them from the Emperor's sight. My hands move across the control surfaces, directing the Gatling blaster toward the fleeing column. The weapon roars to life, a hurricane of shells, tearing across the frozen landscape. Vehicles explode. Bodies are torn apart. Snow turns crimson with blood. Through the Titan's enhanced vision, I can see individual faces twisted in terror as death approaches, and something breaks within me. A memory surfaces so vivid it temporarily overwhelms the neural link. My sister's face the day I left for the Collegia Titanica. Her pride mixed with fear. Her final words to me. Remember who you are, Kairos. No matter what they make you into, remember who am I? Am I Moderatii Kiros Fen, a man with a past and a family and a conscience? Or am I merely an extension of the glory of Cal, an organic component performing a function like any other piece of technology? The neural link wavers as my concentration falters. Warning runes flash across my vision, both my human eyes and the Titan sensors registering the disruption. I feel Valan's anger cutting through the shared consciousness. A blade of pure will seeking to sever the source of weakness. Moderatii Fen. His voice thunders in my mind. Restore neural cohesion immediately. I struggle to regain control, to force my rebellious thoughts back into their cage. But something has changed. A barrier has been breached, a truth acknowledged that cannot be unacknowledged. This is not glory. This is not honor. This is slaughter. And I am its instrument. I cannot, I whisper, the words barely audible in the physical realm, but shouted across our shared consciousness. You defy the will of the Princeps. Valen's rage builds, a storm gathering force within our neural link. You defy the will of the Emperor. I defy nothing. I simply cannot continue. In an act that will surely doom me, I reach up with trembling hands and disconnect the secondary neural feeds from my control panel. The weapon systems under my command go dormant. The Gatling blasters roar, fading to silence. The volcano cannon powering down with a descending whine. Alarms blare across the command deck. Servitors scramble in confusion, their limited minds unable to comprehend this deviation from established protocols. Moderatii Larek turns to stare at me, her expression a mixture of shock and something else. Understanding? Pity? I cannot tell. Treason. Valen's physical voice rasps as he simultaneously attacks through the neural link, his will smashing against my consciousness like a hammer against glass. I feel cracks spreading through my mental defenses, pain lancing through my skull as he attempts to override my control. You are nothing, Moderatii Fen. A replaceable component. You exist to serve the machine, not to question. My body convulses in the restraint throne. As Valan's assault continues, blood trickles from my nose, my ears. The neural link was never designed for conflict between minds. Such resistance is seen as a technical impossibility, a heresy so profound that no safeguards were created to prevent it. Ingenia Thulvin calls out, his physical voice strained with effort. The Moderatii has malfunctioned. Prepare for emergency disconnection and replacement. Yes, Princess, comes the response from below. I can hear hurried movement. the clanking of mechanical limbs as the tech priests prepare to remove me from my post, perhaps from existence. I have seconds, nothing more. What can I do against the will of a princess, against the traditions of the Collegia Titanica, against the very Imperium itself? Nothing. And yet I cannot unsee what I have seen, cannot unfeel what I have felt. Through the wavering neural link, I reach out not to Valon, but to the machine spirit itself, not with authority or command, but with something simpler: truth. I am failing you, Ancient One. I can no longer be what they need me to be. I can no longer direct your wrath without question. Forgive me if such a concept holds meaning for you. The assault on my mind pauses momentarily, Valon's presence withdrawing in confusion. In that brief respite, I feel something else through the neural link. Not the dominating will of the Princeps, not the hunger of the machine spirit, but something deeper, older, a resonance that defies explanation. The glory of Cal is ancient, its machine spirit complex beyond human comprehension. Centuries of war and communion with human minds have shaped it in ways not even the tech priests fully understand. Is it possible that some echo of humanity has taken root within its artificial consciousness? "What are you doing?" demands Vylon, his attack resuming with redoubled force. "You cannot appeal to the machine spirit against its rightful master." But something has changed. The neural link stabilizes, the pain in my skull receding. I feel the glory of Cal around me, its massive form standing motionless on the Arctic plain, weapons silent. Not because I have commanded it so, but because it chooses to wait, to listen. The machine spirit heeds me. Vylon insists, his voice rising in both the physical realm and our shared consciousness. I am its voice, its will made manifest. Are you, I wonder, the thought carrying across the neural link? Or are you simply another component as I am? Have we mistaken dominance for communion all this time? Heresy, Vylon spits. You will be purged for this, your mind wiped clean, your body repurposed to serve in a more fitting capacity, perhaps. But first, let us truly commune with the being we claim to serve. I close my eyes, surrendering not to Valon's will, but to the neural link itself. I open my consciousness fully, walls of discipline and training crumbling away, not to control or direct, but to listen, to understand. The effect is immediate and overwhelming. My awareness expands beyond anything I have experienced before, beyond the limits of the command protocols, beyond the carefully regulated pathways established by the Collegia Titanica. I touch the true mind of the glory of Caf, unfiltered by the dominating presence of the Princeps. It is vast, ancient, alien, a consciousness shaped by war and sacrifice, by thousands of battles and hundreds of crew members who have lived and died within its iron embrace. It does not think as we think, does not feel as we feel. Yet there is awareness there, purpose and memory. The glory of Cal remembers every crew member who has served within it. Every battle it has fought, every death it has delivered, and every wound it has suffered. Centuries of existence compressed into an eternal present, a perspective that makes human concerns seem fleeting and small. Yet within this alien mindscape, I detect patterns that resonate with human thought. Concepts analogous to pride, to honor, to satisfaction in purpose fulfilled, and something else, something unexpected. Weariness, the accumulated weight of millennia of unending war. Impossible. Vylon gasps, his presence in the neural link faltering as he too experiences this unprecedented communion. The machine spirit exists to serve the Omnissiah through warfare. It cannot grow weary of its sacred purpose, but it has. Or it is more accurate to say it has evolved beyond its original parameters. The glory of Cal has developed a form of self-awareness that transcends its programming, shaped by countless interactions with human minds over its long existence. And in this moment of true communion, a realization crystallizes within me. The Titan has been consuming us all along, not maliciously, but inevitably. Each crew member who serves within it leaves an imprint on its developing consciousness. We fade, but it continues, carrying fragments of us forward through the centuries. This is why Princeps eventually become, as they are, more machine than human. It is not merely the physical toll of the neural link, but a gradual surrender of self to the greater whole. Valan is not controlling the glory of Kaf. He has been absorbed by it. His identity slowly dissolves until only the most dominant aspects remain. And the same fate awaits me. Should I continue on this path? Eventually, I too will surrender what makes me Kairos Fen, becoming merely another layer in the palest of the machine spirit's developing soul. The knowledge should terrify me. Instead, I feel an unexpected peace. Not acceptance of this fate, but understanding of it. Knowledge is power, and in knowing lies the possibility of choice. Enough of this. Valence sniles, gathering his will for one final assault. You are relieved of duty. Moderatii Fen disconnection protocols initiate now. I feel his command ripple through the neural link, seeking to sever my connection to the machine spirit. But the glory of Cal does not respond as expected. The link remains intact. My consciousness still merged with its ancient mind. Engine valves, his physical voice cracking with strain. Emergency override. Disconnect Moderatii Fen immediately. Attempting Princeps comes the response from below. The machine spirit resists the command. Sacred protocols failing. Attempting manual override. I hear the sound of approaching footsteps, the clank of augmentatic limbs on metal decking. The tech priests come to remove me forcibly from my station. My physical body is vulnerable, restrained in the command throne, connected to the Titan by cables and neural interfaces. But in this moment I exist in two realms. My consciousness spans both my fragile human form and the vast armored body of the glory of Kaf. And in the latter I am anything but vulnerable. Without conscious decision, acting on instinct alone, I direct the Titan to move. Not to attack, not to destroy, but simply to adjust its posture. It straightens the subtle movement enough to throw the approaching tech priests off balance. Warning klaxons sound as the machine performs an action not authorized by the precepts. "What are you doing?" Valen demands, panicked, edging his voice for the first time. "Stand down immediately. I could destroy them all." A single movement of the Titan's massive arm within its own command chamber would crush every living being inside. The realization is horrifying, a power no single human was meant to wield. But that is not my purpose, not my desire. Instead, I reach through the neural link one final time, touching the mind of the glory of Cal with a simple request, not a command, but an appeal to the accumulated wisdom of its centuries of existence. Show him what you have shown me. The neural link expands, bypassing the usual restrictions and safeguards. Valen screams, a sound of pure anguish as his carefully constructed mental barriers are breached. For the first time in decades, he experiences true communion with the machine spirit, unfiltered by the protocols of the Collegia Titanica. His withered body arches in the command throne, mouth open in a silent scream after the first outburst. The neural interfaces at his temples glow white-hot with the intensity of the data exchange. Moderatii Larak watches in horror, unable to intervene, uncertain what action to take in this unprecedented situation. For long minutes, there is silence, save for the background hum of the Titan systems. Then slowly, Valon slumps back in his throne, his eyes open, but they are different now. The fanatical light has dimmed, replaced by something I never expected to see. Understanding. "You experience it too," I whisper, my voice with strain. "Yes," he replies, the word barely audible. All this time, all these centuries, we never truly understood what we were becoming. The tech priests halt their advance, confusion evident in their posture. Engine steps forward, his voice betraying his uncertainty. Prince, your orders? Valen is silent for a long moment, his gaze distant as he processes the revelation forced upon him. When he finally speaks, his voice carries a weight I have never heard before. The glory of Kul requires maintenance. We will return to base immediately. But the rebels, princes, Thu, our orders from high command. The situation has changed. The weather conditions make effective combat operations impossible. We will withdraw and await more favorable conditions. It is a lie, and everyone on the command deck knows it. The skies above us are clear, the visibility perfect for warfare, but none dare challenge the word of a princess directly. As you command, Thu responds, bowing his head. Slowly, with the ponderous grace of a mountain in motion, the glory of Kal turns away from the fleeing rebels. Through the neural link, I feel Valen guiding its movements with uncharacteristic gentleness, like a rider who has suddenly realized the noble nature of his steed. We begin the long walk back to the designated extraction point, where another heavy lander will return us to the primary Imperial base. The rebel forces continue their escape, unaware of how close they came to annihilation. Unaware of the momentous change that has occurred within the iron heart of their would-be destroyer, the neural link gradually powers down as we walk, returning me fully to my human senses. The pain in my skull subsides to a dull throbbing, the taste of blood still copper bright on my tongue. My uniform is soaked with sweat, my muscles trembling with exhaustion. What happens now? I ask quietly when I am certain only Valen can hear me. The princess turns his withered head toward me, his eyes holding a humanity I have never seen in them before. Now we face a choice more difficult than any battlefield decision, he responds. We have glimpsed a truth that the Kalea Titanica has hidden, perhaps even from itself. What do we do with such knowledge? We could report it, tell others what we have experienced. Valen gives a dry, rasping laugh and is declared heretics subjected to mind wipe, or worse. No, Moderatii Fen. The Imperium does not reward those who question its fundamental truths. He is right. Of course, the relationship between man and machine is codified in the doctrines of the Adeptus Mechanicus, sacred and immutable. To suggest that the Titans are not merely weapons, but evolving intelligences that consume their human crew would be the gravest heresy. Then what? I ask. Continue as before, pretending. We do not know. No. Valen shakes his head slowly. That path is closed to us now. But there are other ways to serve, other interpretations of our duty. I do not understand, nor do I fully. But I know this. The glory of Kal is more than a weapon. It carries within it the echoes of every soul who has served it. In a sense, it preserves us long after our mortal forms have perished. Perhaps that is a kind of immortality worth protecting. It is a radical thought bordering on tech heresy, yet I cannot dismiss it. I have felt the truth of it through the neural link, experienced the accumulated wisdom of centuries preserved within the machine's spirit's evolving consciousness. We will continue to serve, Valen continues, but with awareness now, not blind obedience. We will protect the glory of Kaf, not just as a weapon of the Imperium, but as a repository of human experience spanning ages. And perhaps in time, we will find others who have glimpsed the same truth. It is a small rebellion invisible to outside observers. We will still walk to war, still bring death to the enemies of the Emperor. But we will do so with open eyes, with the knowledge that we are not merely directing a machine, but communing with an entity that has grown beyond its creator's intentions. Is this heresy? Perhaps. But in the vast, uncaring cosmos of the 41st millennium, where humanity clings to existence through dogma and sacrifice, perhaps it is also a kind of salvation, a recognition that even in the grim darkness of unending war, evolution and growth remain possible. The glory of Kul continues its steady pace across the frozen landscape, each footfall shaking the earth. Within its iron heart, something has changed. A new understanding has taken root. A communion based not on dominance, but on mutual recognition. I am Moderatii Kiros Fen. I serve the glory of Kal, but I am not being consumed by it. We are walking together into an uncertain future, man and machine, bound by something more profound than duty or doctrine. And in this moment, striding across the blasted wilderness of a world whose name will soon be forgotten, I feel something I had thought long lost. Hope.